like that's happened in our cities, just with like this could be a very urgent time for us to
Mm-hmm.
put things in place, groups and
Yeah.
stuff. I know with certain
Yeah.
groups I'm working with and nonprofits I'm trying to start with,
Yeah, me
we're
too.
trying we're trying to get in these areas to be an outlet, hopefully, to combat these things as we try to move to normalcy. So that's got to be our mission as clergy. You know, I'm clergy, but as clergy, but as community activists, we've
Mm-hmm.
got to be on that. And I just hope that this will be something that will be pushed on the local levels just as much as we mention it on the national levels, because that's in the end that's what we depend on our local governments to provide funding and programming.
But see,
So
that's the other
to the
side.
body.
That's the other side to that too. Is a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these people with mental health issues don't even like they don't know that there is a resource available
Yeah,
for the and resource itself is a scarcity. But
yeah.
these people don't even know that the resource is there. And just from working with nonprofits, because I've worked with a few of them, and just working with nonprofits, what you learn is there's so many people. Like the nonprofits are aware there are people who have the need, but the nonprofits themselves don't have the scale, so they have to wait for people to get the information to come to them, because if they advertise the message out to too many, they'll get an influx, which lets you know exactly how many people have the issue in the first place, which means we should be doing everything to allocate as much as we could to the resources. Because
Mm.
I don't know why it's so hard for people to just acknowledge that some people need help. And it's all right. Some of those people are you. And to be honest with you, like I'm on Facebook like I try to make sure for both social purposes and work purpose, I'm on Facebook at least about 45 minutes to an hour a day. I'm not the type of person who can just spend their day on Facebook. I can't do that. So
Mm.
I can only give it 45 minutes to an hour. So if you ask me a question in person, like, man, you see what I posted on Facebook, don't get. I'm not being facetious when I'm like, nah, because I'm not on there all day. Like I won't know what you're talking about most of the time. But what I see in these social media forums is a lot of people who are screaming for help and don't know where else to get it. And you see it in the form of social media. Like that, I mean, trolls are people who need to address whatever issues they have. Otherwise, you wouldn't troll.
Hmm.
So it's just it's and when you see it there, and that's what's fascinating about social media is the level of, and I don't want to call it mental illness, but where people need help with assessing their mental health, because
Hmm.
mental illness is a completely different. That's a whole nother topic that we don't have time for today. But
Yeah.
mental health itself, like, is if you find joy in other people's pain, like you have a mental health issue, in my opinion. Because I honestly I don't find any joy in anybody's pain personally. So
Yeah.
like if somebody's hurting, I'm trying to figure out ways to help, not make fun of it. And it's just difficult. Now I like to laugh. So if you come with a good joke, I'm gonna laugh. I'm going to hell with you. Gasoline draws on, because I'm gonna laugh at the joke if it's funny. But at the same time, I don't find any joy in trying to, like, seeing that somebody is struggling and then making a joke out of it. Like if I'm going somewhere and I see a lady broke down on the side of the highway and I can't stop, I'm not then yelling out the window at her to relish in that pain that she's feeling at the moment. Now, if she's driving a Buick, I may make a couple jokes about Buick later on in that ride.
That's hard. That's hard.
But I'm not gonna make fun of her. Like that's what the difference is. And you see people doing just that. Like something happens, and then you see the Will Smith memes, or you see the Kanye West memes. And I'll be honest, like I didn't find anything funny about the Kanye West memes when Kanye West was crying. I tried to kill my daughter, or I almost killed my daughter on stage. Like, some people will say that's mental illness. I have no idea. I'm not clinical. I'm not in that clinical field. I have no idea. I will say though, without having to have that all evidence points to Kanye needs help with his mental health. And I don't know if that's due to mental illness or just the state of his mental health for whatever personal reason that is, but he's begging for help, and at some point we got to give it to him.
Yeah, we done reached one of them heavy moments, man.
We did. So everybody good? Everybody straight? We can move to the next subject.
Let's move.
All right,
let's close it out.
Yeah, we're gonna close it out. We'll be right back. After these messages, there are no messages. We just saying that because what else we gonna do? We'll be right back after this. Mac and Free and McKee, but our names are not important. We're on the last leg of the show, and I'm not tired yet. Y'all tired?
Never, man. Never.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm tired as hell. This is the last leg of the show.
I'm trying.
Man, listen, we had to listen. We work hard for y'all out there. So thank you for listening. For those who listen, and tell your friends and they friends and your mama and her friends and your grandmama and her friends. We let everybody listen to us, man. We just shoot the breeze a bit, but we're gonna get into this. Well, first off, let's do the ones gotta go. We're gonna do one more ones gotta go, but this one will be quick. So, who had the best black sitcom TV arguments? And the question is the options are the Jeffersons, George and Florence, Good Times, JJ and Thelma, Martin and Pam, or Freddie G and Esther from Fred Sanford. Go Free real quick, because this one's easy.
Man, listen, being that to this day I still love Sanford and Son, one of the obvious choices might be that, but
I know where you're going.
I got to give the edge to Martin and Pam, simply because
we knew that's where you was going.
No, but simply because like, you gotta give them credit for all the names that they would come up. You know, where Martin would be like Napoli Cole, or she would be like, you know, Small in the Family. Like, they played on her and the names, like, that killed it. And then, you know, when Pam would get the best of Martin, then Martin would be like, "Oh, is that your breath?" You know, that's classic. And that's classic. When you lose in a fight, you just say somebody breath stink. You know what I'm saying? That gets you time to get back in the game. So Martin and Pam, I got to give them the edge.
I'm going with Freddie G and Esther because basically Martin and Pam stole that whole act from Freddie G and Esther. So I'm going with the originators. What say you, McKee?
Well, as a certified Sanfordologist, I'm actually legally bound to go with Fred, and
See, see,
and I'll also say real quick that I'm big on founders and originators,
yeah.
and as you said before, the student of the comedic game that Martin Lawrence is, credit to him. We know he memorized every Sanford and Son episode verbatim,
Hmm.
uh, in his youth. So Fred and Esther was something that he knew he was going to replicate. But I give him a shout out, though. He replicated it in a very creative way. You're really good when you can imitate something and do it so well that you forget about who they're imitating. And Pam and Martin took on a relationship type of life of its own, and
Hmm.
you would forget where the origin of that come from. So big shout out to Sheena Arnold, a
Mhm.
beautiful lady, and the sister that played Esther. Her name is escaping me right now, but a beautiful lady and a genius in her own right. Y'all know she did several albums and had a great stand-up act.
Yeah.
And Red Fox, I'll just end by saying Red Fox wouldn't have been able to joke with her like that unless he had the utmost respect
Yeah,
and appreciate her. And she was a big person in the sense that she could be the butt of a joke, and she was big enough to play that role. So big shout out to all of them.
yeah,
And that was
absolutely.
LaWanda Page. I don't mean to
LaWanda
let you finish
Page,
it.
big
Yeah.
shout out. Yeah, and Ben probably knows that D. And I'm
Yeah,
talking a lot about his dad on this episode, but when he would have the MEAC tournament, a lot of them would be in the hospitality suite.
Well,
Uh,
my
Story.
father was good friends. Rest in peace to Jan A. Dubois. Dubois. He was good friends. If y'all
And Whitman
know,
Mayo,
no news Rolona from Good Times. So she
and
did. We
and
used to
Whitman
hang out.
Mayo, Whitman
Whitman Mayo,
Mayo,
that was his frat brother Grady.
he would
Rest in
be
peace.
there. So that's
Yeah,
true story, y'all.
he took it. He took it a little tough when I told him Rolona died, but uh, earlier this year. But yeah, cool peeps. She was cool peeps.
yeah,
She
Yeah,
actually sang the national anthem at one of the tournaments.
yeah. You know, I was there. So
Yeah, yeah.
and so let's get into so.
And of course, I asked her because she hooked me up with Penny.
Oh man,
I said, "Do you still talk with Janet?" Nah, but I'm joking. Forgive me. Forgive me. Go ahead.
but now, Joe, I know what we talked about a little bit earlier was the beef between Bow Wow and Timbaland, and once
It
you
wasn't
it,
really beef.
but no, but once you told me why Bow Wow was mad at Timbaland, man, it's like the funniest thing ever. Because again, I think people have a hard time being honest with themselves, and it's like no matter how good of a career Bow Wow, because here's what Bow Wow has to live on, and I want you to tell people what you read, because I can't deliver that one because I didn't
Okay.
read it, so I can't quote it.
Let,
But
well, let me
yeah, make sure you
let me go into that so you can finish. So
yeah.
early at the beginning of the week or over the weekend, I guess Bow Wow was addressing maybe with some fans or something about verses, and
Mm,
I guess he mentioned, I thought about challenging Soldier Boy,
that
and
would have been a good one.
that got out, and then apparently, uh, but I think Bow Wow was trying to downplay it, like I don't really need to do it or need, but I think Timbaland was like, basically he said, I don't think you got 20 hits in the bag you can go to
Mm,
for a versus battle. And then
that would be true.
everybody to kind of clap back, and then he was like, "Man, I can have 10 hits before my third album," and
Mm,
he kind of came back. It was
I
like, "But
got
I don't need
questions.
to do these things," and then the fans were kind of egging the boy. He was like, "I don't need to do this thing. Legends just be legends. We don't need to play y'all the same songs y'all heard X amount of times for 2 hours. He's like, I'm gonna just let it ride, and then he